True, very. I think one very important aspect you brought about was respect. It's so easy to
Yeah.
critique anybody. And especially I've always believed. I mean, I've worked in the industry now for almost 30 years and worked with some most brilliant chefs in my own company. And also, when you venture out, other hotels and restaurants, one thing which I've always learned, and ITC teaches you that the respect for the chef, and it is not just the chef who's sitting, right above there. It's even the person who's making that simple naan. It's an art, which we can't. I mean, a person like me probably can't even cook a fried egg. You know, so that respect, of course, is extremely, extremely important, which certainly is coming about. And I'm glad that you bring up that aspect that the issue is that all three of you, and started with Chef Kapoor. He's made cooking look so easy. Khana Khazana was the show, na
Yeah.
chef?
Yes.
The first show? Yeah,
Yes.
the first show, Khana Khazana, which probably our mom used to watch. You make cooking so simple and easy as if, you get into the kitchen and you turn out a nice biryani and come out. And all even if you ventured, you probably just boil the rice and come out. But so all three of you have made, and then the personalities that you made it so easy that, every man of the house wants to now try it out. So good that they have a little more respect for people who actually cook. It could be anybody who's serving you, even a small chapati in your house. But it is important that everybody respects that particular thing. Taking on from what you said towards the end of your conversation is what, and which is we are witnessing right now when you talk about new skill sets. So my question is for Chef Barar now, that with this, I know that there is a slowdown, and we can't hide from that fact. We know what's going around in the industry. uh, there are the volume of business has probably come down 70-80%. A lot of standalone restaurants have been wiped out, or lying shut at this point in time. And at the same time, remember, and I remember Chef Kapoor telling us only from the organized colleges, the number of people who graduate every year and who join the industry, or 25% of them join the industry. So, what should a person do today? And you always come up with some great ideas on this one. So, what should a person do today who's either in a job today, or who's graduating today, or is there anything that he can do to enhance his skill set? So, any thoughts on that?
So when I was in Boston, a friend of mine who heads the Oberoi Group sales and marketing now, he visited me, and at that point in time, we had to shut the restaurant down. So we were sitting in a cafe together, and we were having a beer, and I get a call saying, can you? It was my day off, so I get a call, and he says, I said, I need to go to the restaurant. They just need me for 10 minutes. It was across the street. I said, I'll just be back in 10 minutes. So I went there. They said, we're shutting the restaurant down. We are filing for bankruptcy. Here's $5,000. This is all that we owe you. We can figure out the rest in court. And that's all. That was the conversation. I came back. I put the check in my pocket. And I sat, and Prashant and I, just finished the beer late in the evening. When we got home, he asked me, Randy, you went there to the restaurant, what happened? He's like, no, nothing. I don't have to go there from tomorrow. And he seemed to be in a state of shock. And he's like, he didn't say anything. The next morning he said, I am a sales and marketing guy, but I don't know how I'd react if I lose stable income. But what I realized was the power of skill, the power of having a skill in your hand, and the power of being a professional to be able to say, well, it's okay. And that's what I said then. I was like, yaar, ande ki ready laga lenge, koi baat nahi yaar. Kuch to kar hi le. And I think today it's for those young individuals passing out, and also professionals, to realize the power of their profession more than the power of their job. And it's very important that we realize that's what we were in it for the first place. In the first place, we were in it because we loved we loved cooking, not because we loved the paycheck that came at the end of the month. We were in it because we loved the profession, the skills that we've acquired. It's like cycling or swimming. Nobody can take away your skill of cycling or swimming once you learn it. Only thing you need to do is you need to keep doing it and keep getting better at it. And I think that's what we need to realize, that nobody can take away the skills from us, as whether we are young professionals or we are students passing out, or we are chefs whose salaries have dropped down because because the hotels are shut, or we are chefs who've lost their jobs. And I think a lot of chefs are actually realizing that. They're realizing the power of the profession. They're realizing that it's the food that they were cooking that was getting them the salary. And I say this very smartly right here. I would not have quit my job if Chef Sanjeev wouldn't have pushed me off the edge. And I think the sooner you get a taste of it, the better you can go back to having a job. But even as an employee, you are more enriched the moment you understand the power of a professional you are. And even as an employee, you'll contribute better to an organization if you're banking on your professionalism, not getting the best, not just getting the Employee of the Month award. That sort of I think is what I want to tell people, saying, it's a great space. If that restaurant would have been shut, I probably would never have sort of understood the power of the profession. It's a great time to understand the power of the profession, the power of the skill that we are in. It's a great time to take risks because you have nothing to lose. The best thing that can happen to you is the feeling that now you have nothing to lose. When you hit the rock bottom, is the best time to start again.
Absolutely.
Actually, I've always maintained that chefs are like doctors. Your profession, your skill set, nobody can ever take away. And that keeps growing. Your hands keep getting better. Your eyesight keeps getting better. Your output keeps getting better. Your experience. Every time you cook the same mutton curry, each time it tastes even better. So that is how a chef has been for me personally. And having worked with some very fine names, and I was about to, when you finish your conversation, I would have complimented Chef Kapoor already, because he's one of those people in the country who inspire youngsters, who inspires the youth. It is not about himself. It is about how do you generate this entire movement. Like you, there will be 10 other Ranveer Barar who've spoken to me that my inspiration was him. If he could branch out, and he pushed me towards it. And that is what it is. I worked with a great chef called Chef Manjeet Singh Gill. And again, another hero in our company or in your trade. A person who can only give you positivity when you sit with him. And that is what is most important. And as you say that when there's nothing more to lose than what you've already lost, this is the time to kind of come back, rebound, do what you can do, etc. and things like that. So, leading to a question with that, Chef, because I come back to Chef Kapoor because of his wealth of knowledge and experience. He's seen so much in life, right? There's a lot of talk now on the 5-star segment, on the takeaway business. This is something that we were always shy of. We would do very, very few food orders, packed orders in our hotels, and everybody felt that the best way to serve it, especially out of a tandoor onto your plate, or out of the pan onto your plate. But everybody is now graduated into something like that. So is takeaway the new highway for luxury hotel? Is it here to stay? Or do you think that this is happening because a lot is closed right now? And when things start opening up, or do you really believe that we've hit gold and just need to go for it?
Right. Fantastic. I think 5-star hotels should not do takeaway food, just takeaway food. They've always been business of experience. They should only stick to experience. So even if they're selling food at home, unless there is an experience attached with it, they should stay away with it. Because if you start making yourself as a commodity, so people, the earlier arbitrage that people paid on food was the experience. It was the pool that they never used, but yet they paid premium pricing. But if it is same thing that they can get at times better, just the packaging would not help. So there is, in the consumer mind, there's a trust that's there. And for that, there's an arbitrage that's there. There's a premium pricing that can be done. The people will be comfortable, the hygienic, everything would be there. Food would be fantastic, everything would be there. But what is it that it has to be food plus? So in like in our TV channel in Food, we say there are one shows where we only show recipes. Okay, here it is, recipe you learn, and then we say we do recipe plus, where we would give some knowledge, some experience, something which is not just chicken biryani, probably history of it, some visuals of it, something with it. So I think 5 stars have to think that what's the experience that they are selling, and they should refrain from just selling food. Yes, takeaway would be part of it. Would it add to the business? Yes, it would add to the business, because it's a pie that has been growing, and it's a pie which is becoming very, very important. Just to give about an hour back, I was talking to a friend of mine, husband wife, Ranveer knows, husband wife, both of them non-hotelier, non-restaurant, non-chefs. They started a brand. They quit their jobs. They started a brand called Nair on Fire. This is Onam time. He told me from home they catered, and they hired cooks from restaurants, right? And they catered 800 sadhyas in last 2 days, 1800 rupees per head. 1800 rupees per head, 800 in 2 days, it's about 14.5 lakhs. Any good restaurant, even a 5-star hotel, 2 days sale of that would give an arm and a leg for this, right? Now that's the competition set that we have today, right? So to say that that opportunity does not exist, but what did they sell? Did they sell food? No, they sold sadhya experience. Now I think there's a lot that 5 stars as an organization, the capability that they have, they need to come up with things that cannot be compared. It is not biryani versus biryani. It is not dal versus dal. It can be fantastic. It can be best. Yet it has to be an experience which is not comparable, would be my suggestion.
Very true. Chef Bhatia, do you have any thoughts on this experience? Because we've experienced a lot, and I think you also did touch upon something on the takeaway when you were talking about the do it on your own and things like that. What I think Chef Kapoor's coming out very clearly is not just the food; it's the whole experience. If you can't come to my restaurant, the restaurant comes to your home, and that actually is what all the hoteliers are right now trying to do. You know, all the well-known chefs of the city are actually today in direct contact with the guests, and that's amazing. You know, I have chefs whose WhatsApp, the guest is not even looking at the menu. He's not even looking at any QR code, any WhatsApp or apps that you've created. It's straight away on the phone, and the menus just keep changing because the chef has taken the center stage, and you work round the clock. So, any experiences you want to bring on the table as he spoke about?
You know, I totally agree what he has said. It has to be an experience. See, each restaurant you have, why does it last well? See, a normal mortality rate of a restaurant is 6 to 7 years, you shut down. But, you know, there are restaurants which have been there for 35, 40 years. You know, Bukhara, look at that. You know, it's an institution, it's been there. It does run, everybody does run, does dal, everybody does dal. But what you get at Bukhara is probably an experience. The same thing applies to our restaurants. You go to hotels to get your ego massaged. You go to restaurants to get your ego massaged, to have a great meal, and to go back with certain food memories which you would not get anywhere else, which makes you want to go back. So it is a memory, it's an experience. So if you can get that into your meal, I mean, why would I want to have a dal makhani from Zia when I can get dal makhani from Gaylon or Khyber in Mumbai, for example, at half the cost? So if I am giving a dal makhani, it has to be an experiential dal makhani. So it could be in the shape of a kebab or a dal or whatever, which makes it very unique. But when you get that to your home, you need to have that connect with that kind of a thing. I mean, just when COVID broke down, our Dubai restaurant just opened up, Indigo, and there were a lot of requests from people, and this was not our plan, was can you supply us food? Because we want to eat your food. Can you supply us food? So we made them menus literally based on what the guest likes to eat. So we would ask them on a messenger, they said, let us know what you want to eat, we'll construct a meal, we'll make it up. And they said, we are sitting at home, we are having nothing to do, we want to also cook. So that was how the meal gets prepared. So we would give them marinated lamb chops and with accompaniments with the sabji or dal, rice, whatever we want to give, and they would finish off the cooking on their side. So there was an involvement of certain sides. Either the cook at home would help them out, or the guy at home would barbecue himself, but it was still an experience. So things like we would never touch, like a Deliveroo or Uber Eats, suddenly come into the forefront and said, you know what, go for it. it is something which is looking at, and it's also avenue you're looking at for revenues. So every aspect which you can tap on, you want to tap on, but you cannot get a like for like when you go into a local restaurant here from a luxury hotel. That does not work. That little extra, that little touch, that little personalized service which you know for our hotels has to come through in our delivery aspect, which makes it unique. You know, packaging all can be unique, but sometimes you end up spending more money on packaging than actually content of the food.
That's true, yeah.
So that experience, that little growth which comes from the chef or the general manager of the hotel, that little extra little box of midnight you can send the petty food to go with that, that will probably going to make you more special. And you always get a loyal customer. There's always a market for the premium passenger or for the premium consumer. The luxury end will always be there. He has just pure income to buy, but he needs that little extra thing which he cannot get from a normal takeaway. And that is where we have to get as the luxury brands to make sure that the experience, the market is there.
And you will always have Nayars on fire, kind of people who come on board. I mean, and you're so right that it's amazing. So many stories in India, because in probably every 200 kilometers, the food and the language changes. There is so much.
Yeah.
If you were to go to length, breadth, north, south, east, west, every time we open a hotel, we've always researched about the food. So last hotel opening in Calcutta, it was all food of the east, where we didn't venture out so much. But that keeps going on. So Chef Vineet Bhatia, another question for you, because being based out of London, is the millennial India or the millennials advocating sustainable dining, and which is just not just food, but the combination of how the food is produced, how it is packaged, how it is consumed? Is this generation actually a little more aware than the previous one? And do you think there's a movement happening in this particular direction?
When I went in the industry in 85, I was only mocked at, laughed at by my family members, my relatives, saying, "Oh, you're going to wear a funny hat, you're going to clean toilets, you're going to peel potatoes." And I said, yes, because I wanted to rebel, I wanted to do something different. So the mindset in 1985 and 84 to the mindset now in 2000, I mean, I see my son is millennium, 2000 born, the way they look at things, and also my nephews back in India, when they look at things, they are conscious. And I think internet has played a major role. There's a lot of information sharing going on, and people have become very astute. They want to know where the product comes from. They want to know the provenance. They want to know who are the artisans behind it at times. Who is making my khoye ki mithai, or who is making where is my kadaknath chicken coming from, for example. Where is my certain thing from, the chilies are there from Assam, kahan se aa rahi hai? There is an understanding. And there is an idea of sustainability. They want to have a low carbon footprint, for example. A lot of stuff say that hame local chahiye. We want to go local. And that is more important, because when you actually go local, you're supporting your local economy around you, because they are the ones who get the most important hit. And if you can't help people around you, then what is the point? So the young generation is very astute. They understand everything is at the tip of their fingers now. All information is readily available for them to get access to. So the days when people could think, maine potli dal diya jeb mein, maine masala dal dunga, and nobody comes to know. Hey, damn, you should be salt, for example, most of the time. We come on board as such and say, okay, we want to teach, we want to showcase, we don't want to hide. We want to share knowledge, and that is what comes through. And the young generation of chefs who are also coming through are the same. The young entrepreneurs coming through are the same, that they want to gain knowledge, they want to share knowledge. You can only grow if you grow with the people around you and help them and grow them. And the new generation is very sensible. They know what is around them, they know what things are, they know what the cost of things are at times now, and how well it can be utilized compared to what happened probably 30-40 years back. It's a total change. The mindset has changed a lot. The mentality has changed a lot. The chalta hua attitude has gone. Our cricket team, what it used to be 35 years back, 40 years back, and look at the team now. Look at the physique. Look at the body structure. Look at how well they are. Look at our music, for example. Getting Oscar awards. Look at the movies we are making on a world scenario. Why does our food have to stay back? Why can't we put it to the world podium level and be amongst the best in the world? And that is what I've always championed for. When I first came to UK, I was totally disgusted by having a Bangla fad or a Vindaloo or a curry. It doesn't even exist in India. And now you have people popping up around the world opening restaurants which try to showcase modern Indian khana, but still keeping the taste impact, the flavors together. And that only comes through with education. And our generation is very, very clever. They learn fast. And you can't just pull wool over their eyes. It's never worked, it'll never work.
Great. So, every industry, like the Bollywood has the two Ranveers, our industry also has this young and bright Ranveer Braz who trends, whose social media keeps trending. So, somebody asked me this question to ask you actually, that what as per you will move out and what as per you will move in? Any trends do you think will move out, and any new trends that will emerge?
I think there are a few very obvious ones. Applying a little bit of common sense. I mean, crystal gazing is something that anybody can do. But if you apply a little bit of common sense, I think exhaustive menus are a trend of the past. Neither does social distancing nor the availability of the lack of availability of imported stuff for some time. It allows for lesser manpower, and it also allows for lesser ingredients to work with. So I think exhaustive menus, Bukhara has championed that decades back. But exhaustive menus, I think, are a thing of the past. And when you move exhaustive menus out of the window, then unless you are a Bukhara, then you need to change regularly. Then you need to turn menus around regularly. You need to be more aware of seasons. You need to be more aware of producers. You need to be more aware of what grows around you. You need to be more aware of what people want. So I think menus that are smaller and more aware, menus that sort of respect the ecosystem enough to reflect in that is purely applying my common sense. That's what I see as the trend of the future. Exhaustive menus going out of the window. I think also a lot of better, and it's a trend that we will probably learn very soon. But the biggest adaptation that I had to do, and where I lost a year and a half of my professional life, was when I moved to the US. Manpower planning. We are blessed with exhaustive manpower. Nobody said hire less. Because manpower is less. Money was always the manpower costs were not the first things on the bottom line that we used to check off. With this, even if it is not the manpower cost, there is a limitation to the number of people. There is a limitation. So I think we'll become better at manpower planning, and probably a chef moving in from 5-star hotels to a freestanding restaurant in the US after 2 years will not take a year and a half like I took to settle down with efficiently planning manpower. I think better manpower planning, also efficient spaces. How do you manage social distancing? How do you manage spacing out? How do you manage spacing out your kitchens and also keeping efficiency out there? How do you manage outdoor spaces? For example, in my restaurants in the US, there were fewer restrictions when you were dining outdoors. Fortunately, the city they closed the streets down. They said, the road is all yours. So the restaurants took up parts of the street to ensure that they could manage covers. So how do you create efficiency with the limitations that you have with respect to space optimization? Again, that's something that 5-star hotels were always blessed with. Huge restaurants, bigger spaces. You didn't really have to, you didn't really have to think about a space when you were planning a restaurant in a 5-star hotel. Not as much, at least in when you were planning it 10 years ago. Now with owner-driven hotels, it's very, very different. But I think that's something that is going to change in times to come in the hospitality industry. Another thing that I see changing, which you already mentioned, is the outlook on commitment to hygiene, the outlook on commitment to the back end. The back alley is becoming broader. I've always had this thing about hotels. The alleys are always suffering. You can't take out till you have a back area which allows 2 trolleys to simultaneously pass each other. There is no point. And I think back area planning, those spaces which sort of needed more attention, are something that will see more attention, fortunately. And that's about it. I think and all of it is for good. That's the best part. All of it is for good. If your menus are more aware, then you're already talking sustainable food. If your menu is more aware and small, you're already talking sustainable. If your back areas are better planned, you're already talking hygiene. You're already talking efficiency. You're already talking a lot of. So I see a lot of positives in whatever trends are going to come up for sure. And I have to say this, and I think Chef Sanjeev brought out a very, very good point, which Chef Vineet further explained. So I was having a conversation with Sadhguru on a similar panel like this, and he said, "Well, I don't go to 5-star hotels for food, So he says, well, if I have to eat an idli, why will I eat it in Chennai in a 5-star hotel? There are so many places to eat it. So just the food battle is not something that 5-star hotels should be fighting anyways. And I think that is something that is another big leap for 5-star hotels, because outdoor catering was something that every general manager shunned at, saying, "Bahut jhanjat hai yaar, khana leke jana, ye karna, wo karna. People are coming in, I'm getting banquet money. Why should I worry about managing outdoor vans, outdoor catering?" Now, that's the challenge. Now, how do you take the experience out of the 5-star hotel? So I think beautiful opportunities which are reflecting in these trends, and I'm very excited to see how the industry adapts.
Awesome. I think clearly you said, if I was to sum up, you've said less is more, for everything, whether it's manpower, whether it's quantities, space. Lots has changed in 5 stars also now, my friend. They used to initially ask you how many covers, then they said revenue per cover, and now we are being questioned on profitability per square feet. So lots is getting more and more demanding. All right. So, but yeah, I would agree with some of these thoughts. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Anil, I think Ranveer brought out the changes. If I were to say, I think one of the biggest change that I see is that pre-COVID, it was eating in and eating out. These are two concepts. There's a convergence of that. There's a convergence which is very, very clear and real. Now, one has to look at this convergence, and that's the opportunity. And that opportunity size is much bigger. The opportunity size of eating in versus eating out. So eating in, so I think when eating out had its own personality. In luxury, there was there was a little bit of I would say fear that was there. The informality of food is something which is real. The sincerity of food has to keep on becoming more and more and more important. So let's look at this session, right? And okay, because we are who we are, and we are sitting, he's sitting in a jacket, I'm in a shirt and in a t-shirt. Maybe this was hotel chefs and all, this conference, they'll be sitting in their chef's jacket, right? You would be with your tie also, right? Here, you are now in a position in a head office. There's an informality that has started to happen. That informality is the biggest shift that is happening in consumption pattern at home. So when you bring in, you have to realize where do you want to position, what you want to do, and go after that. The biggest size in the pie is eating in today. Was always there. It was always there. What is happening is that the eating out people, they have been affected, and they are trying to get into the eating in pie and trying to eat out of that pie and say that, okay, because that eating out pie does not exist. So if that is the case, the conversion is the opportunity. How do you get there? What is the personality of eating in that you want to bring in? Do you want to address that market or not? Or you want to stick to eating out part only? Clearly, that's a large pie. You should go after it. But build that personality. That's the opportunity. See where you want to do. Luxury, mid, where pricing. So meal kits from restaurants is one opportunity. But meal kits, we have just started with Amazon in Bangalore. We are testing it. And it is, you can get all ingredients, very high quality, from very high quality hygiene, international. It's done by flight kitchens and all, which very hygienic, everything. But the price point is something which is, I think, 250 rupees for portion of 4 or for portion of 2, right? So that is the fight. That experience is there, high quality ingredients are there. It's a recipe that you will get on video. You can get through a QR code. You will get it on Alexa. You will have all the technology that is there, and that's the fight that you have to run, and very efficiently delivered through a cold chain, which is very well perfected. So remember that when you're trying to go to the market, which is very attractive, you are ready for it. Not just the packaging, maybe, because what I'm seeing mostly is that people are working on great packaging, but I think 5 stars, luxury, need better storytelling. I think that storytelling, each market has to be addressed in a way that they should say that, okay, this is what we own. Very clearly, I decided when I moved to TV, you said that I made easy cooking look easy. No, it was a decision that I took because I was addressing people, I was addressing large people through TV who were novices, who didn't know, they were just home cooks. If I taught them something that was flambéed and things which were difficult, they would have rejected me. I had to talk their language. I adopted them. That's when they adopted me. It was not the other way around. I was talking their language. That's why they believed in me. I knew that was a large opportunity. At that time, no chefs believed me. They thought that I was mad. They thought that क्या कर रहा है ये छाछ बताता है टीवी पे पागल हो गया ये तो, right? ये छाछ बताने वाली चीज है. Now, but that's a call that I took. I understood what the opportunity size is. I knew what I was doing. I think that is exactly where we are today. We have to redefine. We have to say this is what we are doing, and if we have to have a policy shift, we should do it. I'm sure most people are doing it. They're fighting their own battle. I can tell you that these are interesting times, exciting times, and more iron fires will succeed thanks to the inbuilt inefficiencies that we have let seep into the hotel and restaurant industry over the years.
I think what you'll also see is there'll be a lot of new people coming in the industry who are looking at products which are single ingredient focus or single style focus. And that will be the USP. Like you said, the Nair guy is doing phenomenal business, 14 lakhs in a couple of days. So you'll have one guy who probably specializes in one kind of a thing and he'll make it his forte. And that is where he's going to make the most revenue for himself and he'll survive. And you probably go to people like those because they are super specialized into one single thing. Or just guy just making one type of samosa with a little different version fillings, that is satisfying. So that is the emergence which I will think will probably come through, especially on eat-ins.
I guess you're talking about it. I think very similar. I think again it's coming back to niche, less is more, specialization, experience. I know we're running short of time. Actually, speaking Bhuvnesh ji, अगर आप मेरे को इनके साथ में बैठा दो तो then we can continue. But I know I've got the message already that you've given us 5 extra minutes grace period. I've only had one opportunity in my life to dine with Chef Sanjeev Kapoor. Ranveer I've met a couple of times. Vineet I've missed when he came to my hotel. But it's absolutely brilliant, joining them in a conversation. Gentlemen, first of all, we are nearing the end of our show, so I've got that signal already.
I must tell you, we cannot let this session close without these questions. मेरे को मार देंगे लोग अगर
I'm coming to that. So before because there are a lot of questions coming in, but before we close, because a lot of youngsters would get this opportunity to see you and hear you. From all of you, if I was just to request you to give them one big bang idea, what should they do today to prepare for tomorrow? Is something that I would love to know from you. We can start with Chef Kapoor once again, and we can move on from there. Just that one big bang idea. You spoke actually about a lot of ideas, and I'm sure people should have picked up a lot. But towards the end of the show, if there's some thoughts that you want to leave behind, what would they be?
So I think Ranveer has touched upon that briefly, and I would say, if I were to say, this is the best time to turn an entrepreneur. This is, and when you start today as day one, and start. Do not wait for perfection. So one, best time to be an entrepreneur. Two, start today as day one. Starting is more important. We keep on waiting. We wait for, because we come from an industry where we wait. We say that no, this is, we are taught that finesse. We are taught that we know what is better, right? And for that, time does not wait for us. The biggest learning is that starting has more value than having a perfect start in business, because you don't know what course correction would be needed. So that's, and do not waste even one day. Keep on learning, keep on learning, keep on learning, and more learning, more earning, more learning, more earning.
Okay.
I think from my point of view, the most important thing is self-belief. Is your inner confidence of what you have about yourself. You have the skill factor, you have the self-belief, and you got to be motivated every day to go out. And the thing is, whatever is that you have done to sustain and survive in COVID-19, expand that to make it entrepreneurial. So that becomes your forte, and that you built on. So whatever helped you in the past 5 months to manage to go on is what's going to take you down. Build on that. So that is your strong point. Build on that and just go and conquer the world. Because there is so many opportunities out there. You need to find that one little bright spark which has helped you to manage, and that will take you to the end of the tunnel. The light is there. It's a nice, bright, shining yellow light.
So my big idea is, for a long time we've said think big. I think it's time when we said think small. Think small and start. A lot of times we want to start with 40-page menus. Now it's the perfect time to think small, think in detail, and start. Don't let because the play field is level. Magnitude should not scare you. Everybody's in the same playing field. Think small, think in detail, and start. I think that's think small.
But do make a beginning. Best time to make a beginning is the message from all three of you actually. I'm going to pick up 3 questions, one for each one of you. This is coming again and again from the audience. So the first question is for Chef Vineet Bhatia. Please tell us about your trademark white glasses.
I have got nothing to do with my glasses, my wardrobe, my hats, and my styling. I have zero impact. I have zero influence on that. It's all my wife Rashima who does that. I have got nothing. I just follow my boss's order. That's what I do.
Second question which is coming is for Chef Sanjeev Kapoor. How's your mother's cooking affected your style? Is there a lot that you've learned from her that you've been able to bring onto the table, and that you are able to pass on to the next gen, and the story continues?
Oh, definitely. I think any learning that happens from home is a great learning. And I would say that right from beginning, I would go with my father to Mandi to buy peas and everything. So whether it was understanding quality of ingredients, pricing of it, negotiation of it, or conversion of it, or importance of freshness and all of that, I think that learning is there forever. And that is biggest learning is understanding of power, what is not seen, power of energy, power of positive energy, power of love that we put in food. It's not you cannot write that in the recipe. That's something that comes from heart. There's no recipe tells you put love, this much teaspoons of love. No, that comes from your mother. That's inherent. That's what you imbibe. And that's what, if you can pass it on, if people can get that trust out of you, that you will not keep anything with you, that you will teach everything. And when you say that cook with love, and when they do, they also become good cooks.
Actually, I've seen your mom many times, and I've seen when you go on stage how she admires you. So it's not just the cooking, your personality probably goes down in your personality as well. So she's a wonderful lady. I've met her as well. Offer my regards.
Thank
So the next question is for you actually, and they say that 2 Ranveers are not enough in Bollywood. Is there a chef who's going to make an entry into Bollywood as well, called Ranveer Barar?
Sir, the only thing I've been able to achieve in 42 years of my life is the ability to cook. It took me 42 years to achieve that. Abhi starting of Bollywood, I'm this sort of a guy. So it'll take me another 42 years. That's a long drawn process. I'd rather not wait that long. I just keep doing what I'm doing.
Great. So, gentlemen, we've come towards the end of our session, and another message which is passed through. But I think what you all three have left behind, to me at least, is that we did not talk about what's going on. You've spoken such amazing things which bring a lot of positivity, a lot of energy, improving your skill set. All is not lost. Faith, confidence, love, affection, teaching, helping people improve. These are the biggest takeaways. So, and that's probably what, I don't know whether Bhuvnesh, that was the objective, but that is what is coming out of this 1 hour, 1.5 hours chat with these 3 super champions, if I'm allowed to say so, not just chefs, but fabulous human beings. So please continue to, make people grow. Please continue to encourage people. Please continue to encourage the youth. Please continue to encourage hoteliers like us. Every time I met you, we've only come back with some great thoughts. And that's exactly what's going to happen even tonight. That after spending an hour and a half with you, we're only going to discuss the show when I get back home. Right? So it's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to share the stage with you. And thank you, BW team and Bhuvnesh ji. Thank you very much. I hope we have lived up to your expectations. And thank you very much for inviting all of us once again. So thanks very much.
No,
Thank you. I'll take Bhuvnesh. I want to take 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Because it's not that we came here, we told our stories. I want to give something here so that anyone who's there to the industry. So, I can say that all of us, on behalf of everyone, that our contribution in terms of what the industry needs, I can be more specific. I have a TV channel called Food. I have social media reach for whatever 15-20 million, and we reach many people. So any businesses that need support from us on that, on the reach front, will be given. Please reach out to us and it will be given free.
So sweet. So
Awesome.
sweet. So
Awesome.
I have 1 or 2 things. Anil said super champion. Anil ये super champion नहीं है, सारे superstar हैं, ये rock star हैं, right? Sanjeev started it and where let me tell you, celebrity chefs are the biggest support from India. You look at Vineet, you look at Vikas, you look at Garima, you look at Gagan, you look at Ranveer, right? अब मैं आप लोगों को 1-2 चीजें बोलना चाहता हूँ before I close. एक तो ये जो बंदा बैठा है ना, रणवीर बरार, ये भगत आदमी है. मैंने शो शुरू किए मई में, मैंने रणवीर को मैसेज किया, मैं इनको ना, मेरे व्हाट्सएप चलते हैं, मैं इनको वीर बोलता हूँ, तो हमारा सत श्री अकाल से शुरू होता है. मैं शो करना है, कहने कदों मैं दोबारा पढ़िया, मैं शो करना है तुहाडे नाल. He says anytime you tell me. And 22 में मैंने अनिल के साथ वो अपना वीर सांघवी के साथ शो किया, 23 को इन्होंने चलाया और मेरी गाड़ी चल पड़ी, राइट? वो गाड़ी आज आपके सामने है. रणवीर, थैंक यू, राइट? शेफ कपूर, थैंक यू फॉर ग्रेसिंग आवर शो, राइट? यू आर द ओरिजिनल रॉक स्टार. विनीत, व्हाट कैन आई से, राइट? You are a Shanti Swaroop person, right? But thank you for gracing our show. Anil, thank you. But before I go away, I want to pull Anil back to something we discussed on your original show. We want to start reviving the food industry and model something on the Singapore model and start with number 1, the Delhi NCR food extravaganza, which Anil will detail. ठीक है ना?
So we've been discussing on a hoteliers platform whenever the revival, which has actually begun, whenever we are allowed to increase our capacities, when the lockdowns go away, how can the entire industry come together, to create a 7-day extravaganza or a 15-day extravaganza like what Singapore does, or the Dubai Shopping Festival. And I'm sure that we'll have your blessings and support for that, because all the hoteliers unanimously agree that we should definitely go forward in terms of a demand revival. And as you rightly mentioned, Chef, that you can support us with a lot more activities. So we would love to get your inputs. We'd love to get your blessings and support for that as well.
Thank you, Chef. Thank you, Chef Kapoor. Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Chef Barar. Anil, you've been a wonderful host. God bless you. Right, do well. So this gives you another career opportunity. Yeah. Thank you all.